Right now, you think you can do two things at once. You check your phone while someone talks to you. You answer an email while on a call. You drive while running through your to-do list in your head. It feels efficient. It feels like a skill. Some people even put it on their resume. It's a lie. Not a small one, a complete, total illusion. Your brain physically cannot do two thinking tasks at the same time. It never has, and it never will. What you call multitasking is something else entirely. Something that's quietly making you slower, dumber, and more tired every single time you do it. And the people who are proudest of their multitasking are almost always the worst at it. This is what's actually happening inside your head when you try to do it all. Let's start with the machine itself, your brain. You have one part of your brain that handles focused, conscious, demanding thought. It's called the prefrontal cortex, the executive, the boss. And here is the critical fact that breaks the whole multitasking myth in one sentence. That part of your brain can only run one demanding task at a time. It is a single-lane road, not a highway. One lane. So when you think you're doing two things at once, reading and listening, talking and texting, you are not. What you're actually doing is forcing your brain to switch rapidly back and forth between them. Task, switch, other task, switch, back again. It happens so fast that it feels simultaneous. The same way a movie feels like motion even though it's just still frames flickering by, but it isn't simultaneous. It's a frantic juggling act, and every single toss has a hidden cost. Scientists have a name for this. They call it task switching, and in 2001, a team of researchers led by David Meyer set out to measure exactly what it costs you. What they found should change how you work for the rest of your life. Every time you switch from one task to another, your brain has to do two things. First, it has to shift its goal. Okay, stop doing that, now do this. Then it has to load a whole new set of rules, the mental instructions for the new task, while shutting down the rules for the old one. Goal shifting, then rule activation. 2 steps every switch. And each switch takes time, only a fraction of a second usually. So small you don't even notice it. But here's the trap. You don't switch once. You switch hundreds, sometimes thousands of times a day, and those fractions of a second pile up into something enormous. Meyer found that all this switching can eat up to 40% of your productive time. 40%, nearly half your effective working day, lost not to the tasks themselves, but to the cost of bouncing between them. It gets worse, though, because the cost isn't just time, it's quality. When you yank your attention off a task, you don't just pause it. You partially erase your place in it. Think about being deep and focused work, fully absorbed, and then a message pops up. You glance at it. 5 seconds. Then you turn back. But you're not back, are you? You have to find your place again. Rebuild the mental picture. Remember what you were about to do. There's a widely repeated figure from researcher Gloria Mark, who has studied office interruptions for years, that it can take over 20 minutes to fully return to a task after being pulled away. It's become almost a piece of productivity folklore, and the exact number is debated. But the core idea holds up. The real cost of an interruption isn't the interruption. It's the long, fumbling climb back to where your head used to be. You didn't lose 5 seconds. You lost the thread. This is why multitasking makes you worse at everything you're juggling. You're not giving each task half your attention. You're giving each task a series of cold starts, over and over, never letting your brain reach the depth where good work actually happens. You feel busy, frantically, exhaustingly busy. But busy is not the same as productive. Often it's the opposite. Now here is the part that should really sting. The people most confident in their multitasking abilities tend to be the worst at it. In 2009, researchers at Stanford ran a study to find the heavy multitaskers, the people constantly juggling several streams of media at once, and figure out what made them so good at it. They expected to find that these people had developed superior mental abilities, sharper attention, better filtering, some kind of multitasking superpower. They found the exact opposite. The heavy multitaskers were worse at filtering out irrelevant information, worse at switching between tasks, worse at keeping their memory organized. The very people who multitasked the most were the least capable of doing it well. They had trained themselves into a state of constant distraction and mistaken it for skill. The confidence wasn't a sign of ability, it was the symptom of the problem, and the effects might run deeper than just performance in the moment. Some studies have found that people who chronically juggle multiple devices show measurable differences in brain regions tied to attention and emotional control. Now, this is correlation, not proof. We can't yet say the multitasking caused it. But it's a genuinely unsettling hint that the way you use your attention might be reshaping the very machinery you use to pay attention. At this point, you might be thinking, but I know someone who really can do it. Maybe you think it's you. And here's the fascinating twist. A tiny number of people genuinely can. Researchers at the University of Utah, testing people driving in a simulator while doing a demanding memory task, found a rare group who showed no drop in performance at all. They called them supertaskers, people whose brains really can handle two demanding things at once without falling apart. But before you assume you're one of them, consider the number. They make up about 2.5% of the population, which means there is a 97.5% chance that you are not one, and a very high chance that the more sure you are that you're the exception, the more likely you're exactly the opposite. So what does this all mean for you, sitting there with 6 tabs open and a podcast playing in the background? It means the way you've been working, the way almost all of us work now, is fighting against the basic architecture of your brain. Every ping, every glance, every quick check is not a small, harmless thing. It's a switch. And each switch costs you time, costs you accuracy, and drags you out of the deep focus where your best thinking lives. You are not doing more by doing it all at once. You are doing less, worse, and feeling more drained while you do it. The brain that feels so modern, so capable of handling the endless streams of a digital world, is running on hardware that was built for one thing at a time. A hunter watching a single animal. A person tending a single fire. One task, full attention. That's the machine you have. And no amount of believing you've upgraded it actually changes what's underneath. So the next time you feel that little pull to check your phone while you're in the middle of something, recognize it for what it is. Not harmless. Not efficient. A switch with a price tag, quietly charged to your focus, your time, and the quality of everything you touch. You were never doing two things at once. You were just paying over and over to pretend you could.